I don't know. I don't want to be condescending here, but that's that's kind of like when you say no offense, but like it actually means a little offense. Like, hey, USC. I almost called them South Carolina. USC is they're actually good. Like Carolina, we spent some years collectively screaming about Lincoln Riley. He's got a top 25 football team. USC's number 21 in the country. They're 4-0. They're taking on number 23 Illinois that needs a big bounce back. But like, let's take a second tip of the cap. Like USC's they're ranked.
Because that's exactly why USC paid Lincoln Riley $100 million and bought out his contract at Oklahoma and bought him a cushy little pad in the hills, was to be a top 25 team, right? Wrong. No. I mean, look, that's great. It is great that USC is now a ranked team. I'm not taking anything away from that, but this team and this program has much higher aspirations than being a top 25 team. Look, and you get credit for doing what you are supposed to do. And USC absolutely gets credit for taking care of business with every team so far on their schedule. But when USC brought in Lincoln Riley and paid him all of that money and invested as much money as they have into their roster, we were talking college football playoff and we were talking championships, right? Those are the expectations. And now Lincoln Riley is in his 4th season at USC. And what does he have to show for it? Let's put up or shut up time. The Lincoln Riley needs to start winning some things at USC. Now, they have. They are 4-0. And that's great. But before we talk about USC being a legitimate college football playoff contender, which is the expectation, it should be the expectation at USC, let me see USC do it against a legitimate team. But USC will play Michigan. USC will play Notre Dame. USC will play Oregon at some point on their schedule. And of course, they play Illinois upcoming this weekend. Beat some of those teams. Be competitive against those teams. It's great and lovely to beat Missouri State. Go Bears. It's lovely to beat Purdue and Michigan State. It's probably the bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten. That's great. You took care of business. You did what you're supposed to do. Wipe your hands of it and move on. Do it against a legitimate team and a legitimate contender in your conference.
Yeah, and look, by the way, let's not get it twisted. Notre Dame needs USC to go on a run. I think this is an important part of their schedule. Like Notre Dame has nothing left on their college football schedule that will really cement the mindset of the College Football Playoff Committee about who they've played, and they've lost to the only 2 really good teams that they've played this year. They need USC to go on a run, because if USC goes on a run and wins all these other ranked games and USC ends up being a number 15 team in the country, it becomes a quality win. And we talk about this all the time. Quality wins, quality losses. Notre Dame's got the dreaded 2 now, quality losses and 0 quality wins. Their only shot at getting a quality win this year is USC. So if you're a Notre Dame fan, you are sitting back there right now and your whole as against this as it feels, because it's a huge rival. You're making your whole man cave into USC. Like it's all like, hey, I need the Trojans to win over and over and over again. And I think they can. I think they can win this game against Illinois, Caroline. But like, I think your point on who they played is an important one. I don't think we've actually seen that USC is particularly good yet. They've just won some football games. And I do believe there's an element of AP voters that see USC win a game and they just put a number next in their name.
I do think we, though, need to give credit to Jayden Maiava, what he's doing, the quarterback at USC, because, yes, I'm with you that, like, you need to do it against legitimate teams. Like, what you have been doing, great. Like, that, there's nothing wrong with that, but keep doing it and do it against higher-level opponents. But Jayden Maiava, I think, is somebody to keep an eye on as a potential Heisman dark horse. If USC continues to win, and if USC racks up some of these big caliber wins, if they beat Notre Dame, if they beat Illinois this weekend, if they're able to take down Oregon later in the season, Jayden Maiava is a guy that we need to keep an eye on. So far, he's completing 71% of his passes, 9 touchdowns, and 0 picks. Like, he is kind of on the same trajectory as Caleb Williams in his USC Heisman Trophy season. So, someone to keep an eye on there. But as far as this matchup goes, Fitzy, I'm giving Jayden Maiava and USC all of their flowers. Who takes this one? The Trojans, USC, who have been quietly kind of climbing up the AP poll leaderboard, or Illinois, who just got that butt whooped by an epic proportion by Indiana?
Yeah, no, I've got USC in this game, and part of it is because of what Cignetti did last week, right? Cignetti basically went out there and gave everybody else the blueprint to just pick up. Now, Lincoln Riley has not had the success at USC that we thought he would have, but he's still a great offensive mind for a reason, right? So he goes back at almost like a video game and looks at some of that and says, "Okay, we're going to run some of that." And Maiava is a great comp for you. To your point, I think he can go out and have a lot of success. So I think USC is going to be able to throw the football on Illinois just like Indiana did. USC wins. Who you got?
Give me a bounce back game for Illinois. I didn't think Illinois was a top 10 team, but I also think that Illinois still is a very good team. Illinois just does everything right. They don't do anything fancy. They don't do anything sexy, but they don't turn the ball over. They don't commit stupid penalties. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. Now, USC has been very good at taking care of the football and has been very good at stopping the run. So maybe this is, the recipe for disaster for Illinois, but Lincoln Riley talked about how they played the latest kickoff in college football last week, and now will play the earliest in college football this week. Wah, Crimea River, join the Big Ten if you don't want to play those kinds of kickoffs. But I do think that there is something to be said there, a level of exhaustion and a level of revenge maybe for Illinois that could be the difference here in this one.
Yeah, you took the money for the Big Ten. You don't get to complain about it now, Lincoln. All right. I mentioned Notre Dame.
Crimea River.
Yeah, madam. Notre Dame's going to take on Arkansas. This is not going to be a game, right? Notre Dame's going to roll all over Arkansas.
Yeah, I think that you would be correct that Notre Dame is going to roll all over Arkansas. This is such a funky, weird, kind of week 4 matchup. I love it though. Arkansas just got embarrassed by Memphis at the Liberty Bowl last week. That I think that Taylen Green, their quarterback, he's a roller coaster, and buckle up for the experience because there's going to be times where Taylen Green looks unstoppable. He's like a Johnny Manziel ability to extend plays and to go off script, but that giveth and that taketh away. The Taylen Green can throw some of the most mind-numbingly stupid interceptions, and you're like, why are you doing that? What are you doing? I also think Arkansas is going to get run over by this Notre Dame team, whether it's CJ Carr, whether it's Jeremiah Love at the running back position, or whether it's Jadarian Price at the running back position as well. That's one of the best 1-2 punches at the running back position, I think, in college football. I mean, Arkansas gave up almost 300 rushing yards to Memphis last week. Almost 300 rushing yards. I think Notre Dame's going to roll.
Yeah, I mean, when you are getting your butt kicked on both lines of scrimmage, you're going to lose. And that's very simple. Notre Dame will beat Arkansas on both lines of scrimmage. You're right, they're running the ball everywhere. And I just appreciate Arkansas not toying with us for half the season before we give up on them. We can give up on them early in the year. That's kind of them to not waste our time. Sam Pittman and that Arkansas team is just, they're in for a butt whooping this weekend. All right, well, let's get one more in. Texas A&M and Auburn. I want you to talk me into this because, I walked into this thinking this Texas A&M is going to roll in this one, but not so fast, my friend, says Caroline Fenton. Talk me into it. How's Auburn win this game?
So, everybody thinks oh, there's no way Auburn could beat Texas A&M. They beat them last year, and there was a way worse Auburn team last year. So let's not get that twisted. Now, this game is in College Station. That's an overwhelming advantage for Texas A&M. If you've never been to a game at Kyle Field, put it on your calendar because it's something that you have to do. It is one of the loudest and craziest environments in all of college football. But so much of what Texas A&M wants to do offensively is run the football, whether it's with Le'Veon Moss or whether it's with Marcel Reed, their quarterback. And that's so much of, Marcel Reed's game is what he does with his legs. Don't look now, but Auburn has the best rush defense in the SEC. That Auburn was able to largely stifle Baylor's run game in week 1. They were able to limit a lot of what Oklahoma did on the ground last week, even in a losing effort. But that was a very close football game. And Auburn fans were telling you they were a couple of questionable ref calls away from taking down Oklahoma last week. So there's absolutely a path. And I think the path is if Auburn is able to stuff A&M's run game and force Marcel Reed to throw them to a victory, well, I think that's an Auburn win right there.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I have trust issues with so many things in my life, but I really have trust issues with Marcel Reed having to throw the football here. I agree with that. I have a hard time thinking that they're going to be able to stop the run. I do, but your point is a good one. I was wrong on, and I'll say this pretty loud. I thought Auburn was going to get boat raced last week. I watched, and you didn't, and you were right. I watched that game, and I thought, man, this game was a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot closer than I thought it would be. To me, it's just the home. There's something about having to go to College Station that just feels suffocating. It feels suffocating for anybody to go into that environment, but particularly as I say all the time now, it's like, don't take a shot every time I say it, but the game's won in the margins. There's such a margin. These two teams, I think, are pretty even. If we were on a neutral field, I would feel much different about this. If it was at Auburn, I would feel much different about this. I just think the ability to control adrenaline early on, it just feels like the sort of game that Auburn gets down early and they have to scratch and claw their way back, and I don't trust their offense to be able to do that. So I will go Texas. Are you officially picking Auburn? Just officially picking Auburn?
I'm going to do it. Auburn's going to go into College Station. They're going to beat Texas A&M.
No, man, that's spicy. I'm taking A&M.